it's still like an interesting story to watch today. This is not a story, a movie that is like old story-wise.
What's up everybody, I'm Rick.
And I'm Anna.
And welcome to our bucket list channel, a channel in which we try to realize the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. Today we're working on one of those goals, which is to watch every movie that was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Award from 1927 to 2028. That's 101 years of Best Picture right there.
Right.
Yeah. Today we're going to be reviewing Grand Hotel. Grand Hotel is a 1932 movie, which is actually the winner of that year at the Academy Award.
Which means that we've actually reached the end of this
year. Yeah. We've watched all the movies from the 1931/1932 Academy Award, which was the 5th Academy Award.
Right.
Meaning we've now completed 6 years, including 2019, and watched 34 movies plus one lost movie that we could not find at the Patriot. If you have it, call me. Our review of Grand Hotel will be done like we do all of these reviews. First part is going to be spoiler free if you want to hear our thoughts but don't want to get spoiled. Second part is going to be spoiler filled, meaning that we're going to delve a little bit deeper in some of the scenes or elements that we want to talk about while spoiling these elements. We're not just going to tell you the whole story, but we will spoil stuff, so don't worry if you don't want to get spoiled. We will warn you beforehand. At the very end of the video, we'll also do our ranking.
The ranking, yes!
Now we do the rankings for the year. And this will be the final ranking for that year.
Right, so, and we'll see if we agree with the winner.
The judges pick, yeah. So will we agree with the Academy and put the Grand Hotel at number 1?
I don't know.
We shall see. For those of you who want to see the ranking but don't want to go through the spoiler section, there will be a timestamp in the description below. Let's get started first with some general information about this movie that we've watched. Grand Hotel, 1932 movie, an MGM movie, came out on April 12, 1932. The screenplay was by William A. Drake and is based on a 1930 play of the same title by Drake, which itself was adapted from a 1929 novel, Grand Hotel. One thing that I want to point out is you notice a lot of these adaptations, I feel like they're very quick. Like nowadays, they do a lot of book adaptation and movie adaptation, but sometimes it takes a few years. Sometimes it's like, oh, this book came out 10 years ago and it was really popular. Now there's a movie. But like 1929 is when the book came out.
Right, and in 1930...
There's already a play off of it. The movie was directed by Edmund Goulding, which directed The Broadway Melody.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It stars, so there's a lot of stars here. Greta Garbo as the dancer. I can't pronounce her name, I'll just say the dancer. John Barrymore as the Baron Felix. Joan Crawford as the stenographer, Flame. Wallace Beery makes his return here.
Right.
As General Director Praising. A different role for Beery. I thought it was interesting.
Very
to see
different.
Him, yeah. From what we're used to seeing him in. Lionel Barrymore as Otto Kringeline, Louis Stone as the Doctor.
Okay.
The movie was nominated for 1 Academy Award, Best Picture, and it won.
And won.
Yeah. And to date, it is the only film to have won the Academy Award for Best Picture without being nominated in any other category.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but like we said at the beginning of that year when we did the very first movies, this was a year where no movie got more than 2 nominations, which I don't think ever happened again. It was a commercial success, but also a success with the critics. Of course, it won Best Picture at the awards, but it also proved influential over the years. A few examples, the line said by the dancer, "I want to be alone," was named by the American Film Institute the 30th most influential line out of 100 for the last century. You know, at the end of the 2000s when they were making all these century, top of the century thing.
Yes. That's a bit of a generic line though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to be alone.
But it's how that one line, you know, represents her character, the state of mind and everything, like the importance of it. And the movie itself was selected for preservation in the United States Film Registry and the Library of Congress for being culturally and historically significant.
I can see why.
The movie was remade as Weekend at the Waldorf in 1945 and also serves as the basis for the musical Grand Hotel in 1989. So that is all I have for now. Let's get into our spoiler-free discussion. Anna, did you like this movie?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting. Like story-wise, performance-wise. I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you here. I love this movie. It grabbed me from the beginning with the very first few lines, and we'll get there when we talk about the spoilers, but the doctor is the one who has the first lines and the last lines. He bookends the movie, and it's kind of an interesting, it sets the tone right away, along with the imagery. So I guess we'll start there with the look and sound of the movie. I felt like the set, was also part of was almost a character by itself, the hotel.
Yes. I could see how they played with light and also with all the sets, how the rooms were arranged and all of that in order to tell a story just through what the place looks like.
Definitely one of the more impressive, there's a shot when they're looking down from a high floor of the hotel, and I'm like, oh wow, that's a really great shot, for, I don't want to say for the time, because it always sounds like you're diminishing the accomplishment, but I wasn't expecting it. It was a great shot. It was beautiful.
Right.
But in general, just the feel of the hotel, you could tell, lots of people walking around, the different rooms, everything has at its own
feel to it.
Exactly.
Yes.
The hotel was alive as much as the rest of the characters. Which, let's talk about these characters. You mentioned the performance when you said you liked the movie. Anyone in particular that jumps out?
I thought that all of the actors, at least those that we see regularly, right, did a very good job at interpreting their characters. I thought that Kringeline particularly had a very interesting role. And I really liked how he performed it, because at first I wasn't that interested in his character, but then his character development, his storyline becomes more and more interesting.
Yeah.
And you can see him growing, his character growing through the story. And I really like that.
No, definitely. So, of course, Wallace-Beery, always a standout. He was great in here too. And Barrymore, who plays Baron Felix, was also, in my opinion, good. But you're right, the other Barrymore, Lionel Barrymore, plays Kringeline. So good. He quickly became my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
As things were going on, I'm like, oh, I'm rooting for you.
Yeah. I'm following this guy's story.
Exactly.
But also Greta Garbo, I thought watching her that she was maybe more of a stage actress rather than a movie actress. I don't know if it's her performance or that was her role, but I felt like it fit with the story and with the story of her character so well.
But I feel like it's because that was what the character was, the character is a stage performer.
Right, so it worked really well is what I'm saying.
Performance-wise, I think this movie was great. Story-wise, I think this movie is great.
We are doing that, right? The comparison
with
that they also made back then.
Yeah, with Shanghai Express.
Exactly.
I'm definitely making that comparison. So we can talk about that right now. We can delve deeper into it in the spoiler section, but we can mention that right now without spoiling neither Shanghai Express or this movie. Where Shanghai Express, in my opinion, fails and where this succeeds, and having this all-star or a varied cast of different characters come together, I feel like it might be right there in the characters.
Yes.
Because Shanghai Express has a story. They're telling a story in which characters are in.
Yes.
While here we have characters telling us a story.
I know exactly what. I know exactly what. I thought the same. I think I made that mention when I was watching. When we were talking about Shanghai Express, I had the feeling that it's more like there was a story and then the characters were pushed in that direction. But here you feel like this is the outcome of the characters' actions.
Being there, exactly.
Exactly.
And
it's it's natural. It works.
And maybe it's because there's no at first there's no overarching element that is englobing everything, you know?
Yes.
It's just these characters, they're in this hotel, let's follow them.
Exactly.
While Shanghai Express is very like this situation, this storyline, and there happens to be people that we follow
Different
inside
people,
this storyline.
right. And another thing that works very well is they really managed to create this story in which different people, you know, with their personal stories come in there, and all of those stories somehow like converge,
weave together.
Exactly.
While again, and I don't want to spend the whole time comparing with Shanghai Express. Shanghai Express also fails there, where some of the characters felt like they're just there, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
They have no connection to the rest of the people.
Right. And like their stories don't
Mm-hmm.
match that well together.
Yeah. While here you kind of get that like 6 degrees of separation type of thing, where even though the dancer doesn't interact with everyone else, her actions have impact on other people's storylines, you know.
Exactly. I love that. It feels modern, feels like refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I think to watch a movie like this.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
No, this was a great movie. I guess the question is mute, but I'll ask it anyway. Do you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
I recommend it.
I would recommend it too. Now we're gonna switch to our spoiler discussion. If you guys don't want to get spoiled, I invite you to leave now and come back.
Or go to the timestamp
to get to the ranking part.
Right.
Like this video if you did. But now let's move on to our spoiler. Before that, let's give a short synopsis of the movie. So, a group of very different individuals staying at a luxurious hotel in Berlin deal with each of their respective dramas. And so, here already in the synopsis, you can tell like each of their respective dramas, you know, they each have their own storyline. They come in and they do a very good job at the beginning. One of the first scenes is each of them at the telephone kind of explaining what their own situation is, you know?
Right, yeah.
There's Kringeline saying, oh, I'm gonna die, but I'm here with all my money to live it before I die.
Yes.
You know, and then there's Wasberry's character talking about the merger, and then the Baron talking about his money problems. You know, very quickly they establish like, okay, this is those characters and this is what they have to deal with. Most of them don't have any connection with each other. They meet each other in this setting.
Yes.
And each of their story drives the overarching story. It's the character pushing the narrative forward.
Yes, totally.
Which I love. I think the focus on each of the characters also helped you empathize in some sense with some of them, but also just understand others, you know, and everyone. At one point in the movie, I was like, oh, you know, I kind of feel bad. Even for Wallace Berry's character, at some point, I was like, oh, I feel bad for you. You know,
Did you?
when his deal was going down, you know, and he was trying so hard to save his company.
I suppose,
and I'm like, oh. But then he flipped pretty quickly. Yeah. But yeah, is there any element that you want to focus on?
Oh, but that's so hard because there are so many things that we could discuss about that I really liked so much. But I think I want to talk a little bit about maybe like just the characters' interaction. There are a few like pairs of characters that, you know, interact a lot with each other, like the Baron and the dancer, and then we have the Baron and Kringeline. Revolves around the Baron mostly.
The Baron and Kringeline to me are my favorite pair.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah. I love them so much. Like
such unlikely friend, and at first I thought he was just being. And probably to him that was it, you know, he was just being polite at first.
Yeah.
But by the end, he really becomes friend with Kringeline, you know. Surprisingly, we'll get there to in a minute, but surprisingly the Baron dies.
Yeah, you had Kringeline, right, who from the beginning says that he will die. But then at the end of the movie, it's the Baron who dies.
And
it felt to me as if like Kringeline kind of brought a premonition of what's going to happen, of death. Right, but it wasn't his own death.
But here is the genius of that movie really is, so they tell you the Baron, Kringeline is going to die, so you expect at any point of the movie, maybe he's going to die. Even at some point, he's in his bed, but he's just drunk. But they make you think like, oh, maybe this is it, you know?
Right.
But instead of him dying, of course, it's the Baron, and a surprise twist. I never saw it coming.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah, but instead, at the end of the movie, Kringeline also goes out with hope that, I might live if I find a cure, because the stenographer Flime tell him, like, you have so much money, we can find a doctor, they cure anything.
They can cure anything these days.
Yeah. And who brought these two together? It was the Baron, you know?
Right.
And it kind of
Yes.
feels like the Baron's last role in his life was, in a sense, to give Kringeline confidence, give Kringeline, you know, more money, because he's the one who brought him to the
poker game where
poker
he actually
game,
wins
yeah.
a lot of money.
Bring him a last day with a friend, because he said he never had any friend. The Baron was his first friend.
But at the same time, the stenographer, she was going down a path that wouldn't have given her a happy life. Like she was about to get into this
job with
right,
Wallace Berry, yeah.
which obviously was not a stenographer job from what we could tell. Instead, she got to meet Kringeline and decided to go with him in the end.
But also through the Baron, which is
through the
what
Baron,
I'm trying
exactly.
to say is that he's the linchpin in all of this. Even though he was only really looking out for himself a lot of the time. You know, he's a robber, a jewel thief, and a liar.
Yes.
But in the end, it's through his kindness, because he was really kind with everyone else, that they all get a better ending, except for, of course, Wallace Berry, who killed him. And the dancer, who sadly will go to the train station and realize that he's not there. It's because it was about the character, you know, like we always come back to that. The movie was just about the characters. There's nothing else pushing the narrative forward. And it's interesting because it starts and ends with the same sentence from the doctor, which is, this is the Grand Hotel, people come, people go, nothing ever happens.
Right.
And yet so much happens. It's just everyone has their own life, and if you look a bit deeper, you know, everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah, and everyone's life was somehow altered while they were
by coming in
at
here,
the hotel,
and
right?
And it's interesting because someone even makes mention, maybe it's a doctor or someone else, that like you come here, you stay in your room, then you leave, someone else takes your room, no one even remembers you were here. And at the end, they kind of alludes to that because they show another couple coming in.
They show other people coming in and
they
renting
will have,
rooms.
You assume that they will have their own stories, and this is just the way things are in the hotel. Even Kringeline says, we'll go to Paris and sleep at the Grand Hotel there. I'm sure they have one, you know?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Kind of, this is life. This is the way of things. But yeah, and we didn't talk a lot about John Crawford, the stenographer, but I thought she was great too.
Yeah.
As, you know, a character who, you know, a lot of the things she does because she has a money problem and she has these dreams of becoming an actress. So she follows along with Wallace Berry's character. But at the same time, you know, you can feel she's uncomfortable with it, and she'd rather be with the Baron. And the Baron, surprisingly, for a thief and a liar, surprisingly honest. But yeah, great movie again. You recommend it?
Yes, I do recommend it. I think it was great.
I would recommend it too.
And I think it's still like an interesting story to watch today. This is not a story, a movie that is like old story-wise.
Yeah,
it aged really well.
The dialogue, the characters, everything aged well. Yeah, watch it just for Kringeline. You know, you're gonna love Kringeline. So yeah, let's get to our ranking, shall we? This is the last movie we will rank. The current ranking is right now number 1, 5-star Final. Number 2, The Champ. Number 3, Aerosmith. Number 4, Shanghai Express. Number 5, Bad Girl. Number 6, One Hour With You. Number 7, The Smiling Lieutenant. So, where would you put Grand Hotel?
I mean, obviously it's better than pretty much all of the movies on this list. But I'm wondering, 5-star Final. Like, is it better than 5-star Final or not? Because I really liked the story of 5-star Final. And it had the main character, the journalist, who was like just amazing in my opinion. Great performance. But would this be better?
So personally, I would put Grand Hotel at number 2, but I would have no issue putting it at number 1, like if you had an argument for that.
No, because I don't really. I'm trying to find the argument myself, because I'm also wondering, is it number 1 or number 2? It's a tough decision.
Yeah. I think everything that this movie does well, which is mainly the characters.
Right.
5-star Final also has that. It has great characters.
Yes.
And great characterization. Like the storyline is driven by just a simple element, and then these characters' reaction to that element. You know, we want to get this story out. How does this impact the life of A, B, C, D? You know. But 5-star Final also add the underlying message, which to me like had more of an impact because it made me think about the movie way more afterward. Like, so like this is a commentary on society, a commentary on journalism, on tabloids. And not to say that you need to have a message to be the better movie.
A good movie, yeah.
But it's
But it
just
helps.
like if I'm trying to compare the two, and then I gotta pick what elements one has and one doesn't.
Right. I think so too. I think that both of them did a really good job at creating this like storyline that's just, it feels natural and it works, and the characters just fall into place to, you know, enrich the story.
Yeah.
So they did it very, very well. I would argue though that Grand Hotel did a better job at creating this storyline, which is it feels more like life, but because that's the subject of the movie.
Yeah, but
It feels more like this is all accidental, but this is how things happen.
though I think you feel like that because this is more of a situation in which you can imagine not being, but like you can imagine this happening. While 5-star final, we would never be on that side of things, you know.
I suppose, yeah.
We're not journalists. We're not ex-criminals ex-criminals hiding their life, actually. But you can still feel the quote-unquote real impact that these kind of papers would have on people's life, you know, because this is real, you know. There are tabloids out there who print horrible stories about people, and they must have the same kind of impacts, which is something that can't be understated to me, is when the events and 5-star finals start unraveling, you know, when the main female character and her husband, you know, the situation that they end up in is to me so powerful, you know, especially when the husband, you see what scene I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil the movie, but like it's so powerful, just that scene, just thinking back on it, I'm like, oh.
And now that I think back on it more, the 5-star final, I remember that what I liked the most about that movie was the general atmosphere of the movie, and the dialogue that was just amazing. So, you know, now thinking back on it, I think I would put this one at number 2. They're both of them, but I would lean a little bit more towards having it at number 2.
It's a difficult choice. And quite frankly, even though I would put 5-star final at number 1, if you ask me right now which movie I want to watch again, it's probably Grand Hotel, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that is true.
But still, if you're asking me, like, rank them...
Which one is, like, the best picture?
Yeah.
That is not to say that I don't agree with the
Academy's choice. I would have been very satisfied if I was there.
Yeah. And I can see why Grand Hotel was probably something very new and different for them at the time.
Yeah.
It's a different way to tell a story. You know,
and it was a great story,
and it was and they managed to do it in a very good way. So
I guess that's the final decision. Let's go over the list one more time, backward this time. Number 8, The Smiling Lieutenant. Number 7, 1 Hour with You. Number 6, Bad Girl. Number 5, Shanghai Express. Number 4, Aerosmith. Number 3, The Champ. Number 2, Grand Hotel. And number 1, 5-star Fine.
And I want to mention, remember when we started this year with Aerosmith, that we were saying this is like so good, the other ones...
This is going to be hard to beat. Yeah.
I mean...
Aerosmith is now number 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, definitely. And it's still a very good movie, I think. But yeah, we had a lot of good movies this year.
Though
I'm
I feel
really
like
happy with it.
we had kind of like a half-half.
Yeah, a little bit. Because the first 4 were kind of like obviously there, and then the last 4 were kind of like obviously at the bottom.
There's a clear cutoff, you know. It's not like we were arguing whether Bad Girl would be number 3. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it for the ranking for 1931/1932. Next time you see us, we'll be starting a brand new Academy Award year, the 6th Academy Award. Get ready for that. If you like this video, I invite you to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see us watch more movie, but also do other stuff, because this channel is not only a movie channel, it's a bucket list channel in which we try to realize the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. There's 101 of those.
So many.
Yeah. Check it out. A lot of interesting stuff there. Subscribe if you like. Comment in the comment section below. What is your own ranking for that year of the Academy Awards? Speaking of your own ranking, I want to highlight someone who's been commenting on some of our videos, and I checked out her blog. I thought it was very interesting. She's doing something very similar to us, Zoe Kranik, at zc.wordpress.com.
We're going to link that in the description box below. So
yeah, check out some of her reviews. She's going back like us, watching all these nominated movies. I thought there was no one else as crazy, but
right, yeah, we're not the only ones.
Yeah,
hey,
and it's great. It's great to see someone else's opinion on some of these movies, especially sometimes even after we film these videos. I'm like, well, like, was I right? Like, you kind of.
What did someone else? What did other people think of it? I wonder.
Exactly. Yeah, and so it's always interesting to get different perspective. Check it out. So that's it for us. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.
Grand Hotel. People coming, going, nothing ever happened.